Hello, everyone, and welcome to summer. Are you so glad it's June? I know my kids are out of school and others still have a little ways to go, but I'm excited that it's summer and the weather's a little warmer and we get to do some fun stuff. So, today I wanted to share with you 5 things that I love for summer. I do one of these usually once a season, and it's a lot of fun where I just share 5 things that I love. They don't necessarily have to do with style or fashion, but they're things I enjoy. If you're new here, welcome. I'm April, and every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I share a style snack with you. Today's isn't about style, but it's still a good one. The first thing has to do with removing makeup. Removing makeup before skin is before bed, is so important for your skin. And I have always struggled with my face feeling clean. And even after I wash my face, when I use the toner, more dirt comes off on the cotton pad. I just wash my face. And I've been hearing about double cleansing and all kinds of tricks to get your skin clean. So I know I'm not the only one who struggles with this. And in the summer, it can just your skin can feel stickier and ickier because of sweating and and the sunscreen, which is so important. And it can just feel even dirtier. And I recently heard about micellar water, and maybe all of you have already heard of this, but it was new to me. And it can be used as a cleanser or a toner, and it is for cleansing the skin. It's also for toning and balancing, and it's got a tail that's attracted to oil, and it traps the dirt, and then makeup, and then it has a head. We're talking about on a cellular level, that is attracted to water, and it allows the micelles to dissolve impurities so that they can easily be wiped away. So it wraps all the dirt and oil and everything up in this little ball, and then it easily wipes away. And it's also extremely gentle, hydrating, and it's great for sensitive skin, all of which I personally need. It's supposed to be really great for acne, which, oh my gosh, can I just tell you, they took me off of, I was doing testosterone replacement therapy because my body makes almost zero. And then took me off of it this winter because post-COVID, my blood pressure spiked way high, and that can make it worse. But my blood pressure's back down finally. And so I just started on it again, and it makes you break out really bad, at least in the beginning, I hope. And so I am 46 years old, and I have wrinkles and acne, and it's really spectacular, let me tell you. So I'm really hoping that this helps with it. But I was so shocked at how well it cleaned my skin and removed my makeup, particularly my eye makeup and the lip scents. If you've been around, you know I love and use lip scents. It's the only lip stuff I use, and it is horrible to get off sometimes. And it comes off really easily with this. I have tried so many different ways to remove eye makeup over the years, and this is definitely my favorite so far. It's easy, but it's also really gentle. And the eye area, the skin is so sensitive, and the tugging and the pulling when the makeup won't come off really easily, it's terrible for your skin. And so the only thing it's not great at is removing waterproof mascara, but I rarely use that, so that's not a big deal. I've been experimenting with how I use it in my skincare routine to see what order I like best. So to remove the eye makeup, I soak a cotton pad and I press it and I hold it for just a few seconds, and then I wipe, and I cannot believe how easily it comes away. So many other things that I use to remove my eye makeup, I end up with just still the smudges of mascara down here, and this is so tender, this skin. You don't want to just pull and pull and pull, and it just right away. And then for my face, I squeeze it on a second cotton pad and I remove my makeup. And it really depends on how much makeup I'm wearing. Some days I wear more, some days I wear less, but it can take 1 or 2 to get it all off. Sometimes I use it as a makeup remover. It depends on when I'm showering. I prefer to shower at night. So if I'm showering at night, I'll use it to remove my makeup. And then I will get in the shower and wash my face with a gentle cleanser. And then if I do it that way in the morning, I'll use it again to remove the skincare products that I put on the night before. And then I'll reapply my morning skincare products. And then if I end up showering in the morning instead, I'll use it at night to remove my makeup. And then I'll just use a facial cleansing wipe to just get any remnants, but really it gets most of it. I could get all of it if I use 2, maybe 3 of the pads. So Bioderma is the original micellar water and it has the best reviews. And so that's the one I've been using. I'm sure there are other great ones out there, but this is the only one I have experience with. And my skin does not feel stripped. And do you know what I mean? Like a lot of times when you wash your face and your face is all tight, and that's not good. That's not good. So I would love to know if you use micellar water. This is new to me. And maybe everyone else in the whole world has heard of it except me, but I'm loving it. So if you have any tips to share about how you like to use it, I would love to know. And I'm sure everyone else around here would love to know too. So do you use it to clean your face, or do you just use it to remove your makeup and then you wash your face? Tell me everything. Next item. If you don't know this about me, my very favorite hobby is gardening. Digging, planting, mulching, designing, and sitting in my gardens rank right up at the top of my list of favorite things to do. And then you could add visiting other gardens, talking about gardens, dreaming up new gardens, and watching YouTube videos about gardening to complete the rest of the list. I love flowers and gardens. And last year I discovered a YouTube channel, and it's my new gardening crack. It's called Garden Answer. And the woman who, I don't know her last name, Laura at Garden Answer, that's her name. And I have been binge watching more videos than I can count. Some of them I have watched multiple times, and I have shared this channel with several of my garden loving friends, and now they're hooked on it too. She's very easy to listen to and watch. She has a very soothing voice. They have an enormous property. Her parents own a nursery. So we bought our dream house almost 2 years ago, but it did not come with a dream yard. The landscaping had been neglected during the 1.5-year renovation, and then while it was on the market, and then while we were trying to close. And all that was left was a combination of whatever hadn't died and whatever had spread invasively. I'm looking at you, monkey grass. We've been trying to get rid of that for a year. It's getting a lot better, but my word, it's such a pain. It was everywhere and it was killing my dogwood tree. So I was dying to get out there and plant as soon as we moved in the fall. But with a cross-country move, getting 6 kids settled, school starting, finding furniture, and running a business, it had to wait. So last summer, or spring, I should say, we started working at it slowly. For Mother's Day, my family helped me plant the courtyard beds. And then in June, I did the foundation plants in the 3 beds in the front yard. And then this spring, starting with my birthday, my family has helped me fill in more pieces, but believe me, I have more projects in mind. And as I continue to plant and research ideas, the Garden Answer YouTube channel is exactly my #1 resource. It is where I go. Laura is my gardening magic 8 ball. Laura, what should I do with the horseshoe-shaped island bed at the front of the yard? And I give my phone a little shake, and she has the answer. Laura, I need a low-growing evergreen shrub I can create a hedge with, and it tolerates both full sun and full shade. And I searched garden answer, and the very first video, she gave me the answer. Like, it's amazing. She lives in a very different climate than I do, but it doesn't matter. I still find what I need. And as I continue to plan additional landscape improvements, I know I can find inspiration on her channel. If you check out her channel, be sure and tell her Stunning Style says hi, and that I'm a huge fan. So we will link to a few of my favorite videos that I've watched multiple times, but she has so many good ones. She puts out a video like one a day. I don't know how she keeps up with her her schedule. Like, creating and editing videos is super time consuming. And I also really appreciate that she is open about the fact that they have help on their property, planting and taking care of everything. It's not just her out there doing it all by herself. So, you know, it's easy to look at it and be like, I can't even keep the dandelions out of my lawn. How does she? It's because she's got help. She has help, and she's open about it, and I appreciate that. The next thing I want to show you is, it's a year-round use, but it's especially helpful in the summer. One of the worst things you can do to your undergarments, or most clothes really, is to put them in the dryer. It will ruin your clothes faster than anything. And we've all seen the movie clips of a woman's bathroom covered in all of her delicates hung to dry, and she's snatching them up because of unexpected company. But there are tidier and nicer ways to dry your dainties. In my laundry room, I have one of these, and I use it to dry my underwear, my bras, my tights, and my swimsuits. So it's one of these drying. Well, this is a little one. Let me show you mine. I've got it right here. I do put my socks in the dryer, but you can put anything that needs to be hung up to dry. So if I'm hanging underwear, I'm not going to show you how I hang my underwear, but if I were hanging underwear, I just hang it by one corner here. I hang by a bra strap here. And then my swimsuits, I'll hang like this, and you can hang the bottoms that way. And it's so hard to find a spot to put your wet swimsuits and anything that doesn't fit very well to dry on a hanger. I love that this is compact and efficient. And even if you still need to use your shower rod to hang this hanger on, it's easy to put up and take down quickly. And so it doesn't have to always be in the way. And I'm ordering some small, like the one I just showed you, the little plastic ones. Like this, for my kids' bathrooms, and for them to hang their wet swimsuits on. And hopefully that means the kids won't leave them in wet piles on the floor, or knock the towels off the towel racks or hooks to hang up their swimsuits. And it's not hanging on a hook up against the wall, trapping the moisture. It's not hanging on a doorknob. It's not hanging in all the weird places and getting things wet. And if you live in a humid climate like we do, you know how important it is to get things to dry quickly and to keep things dry, lest you have mildew. So that can hang on a shower rod in the bathroom. Our laundry room, there is nowhere for me to hang a bar. It's very, because of cabinets and various things, like there's no good place for me to hang a bar. So I have a clothing rack up there for hanging up wet things. And so this just hangs on that clothing rack in the laundry room, but if you have any kind of a hanging rod, it can go there. My exact one is no longer available, but we have a link to one that's very similar, as well as to the one I'm getting for the kids. You can get them plastic, you can get them metal. They're great for clothing lines outside, however you want to use it. My next favorite thing in the summer is reading. And reading by the pool is one thing I look forward to the most. And I always have a stack of things to read, because one of my favorite things to do is read book series with my kids. It gives us things to talk about, a way to connect, inside jokes. And I started reading with my kids, reading series with them when I introduced them to Harry Potter. And I'm rereading it now with my youngest. But now that most of my kids are older, we read the books separately and then we just talk about them. It's such a fun way to connect with my kids, especially now that most of them are teenagers. It gives me insight into their lives, into their interests. It's something we have in common. And it's one way I can help them feel loved and seen as individuals and just have something fun that we're doing together. So I rotate whose books I'm reading so that everyone gets a turn. And my kids love to read. I love to read. It's something that we connect on, especially once our kids approach the teenage years. And particularly for me anyway, with my boys, it's just the natural process of motherhood that our kids slowly separate from us. It's how it should be. But we still want to maintain a connection with them. And teenage boys just don't have as much many interests in common with their mom as maybe teenage girls do. That's not always the case. It's a generalization, but it's just been, this is something I've done for years. It's been a lot of fun. And so my kids, that's why I have a never ending stack of books, because they're always bringing me books and they just stack them on my nightstand. And if your kids are adults, or if you don't have kids, it's still a fun way to connect with other adults or with your adult children and have something in common with them, something to talk about. And it's also a great idea of something you can do with your grandkids. These are not like book club books, right? These are not earth-shattering. Well, that's not true. Sometimes we read books together, like Atomic Habits. We got our kids a copy of that, and I've read it a few times, and so that's a little more book clubby, right? But these are just fun books, and so we're not sitting down and having like life-altering discussions or why do you suppose so and so did that. Well, no, sometimes I do have a little bit of conversations about them like that, I guess. I'll tell you about that one I had recently in a second. But this last year, some of the series that I read include The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I read that series with my boys. I know my teenage daughter would love it too, but she's being stubborn and she won't read it because her brothers make fun of her books. And so she's refusing to read their books. You understand how that is. But she would love it too. It's good for anyone. If you love fantasy, this series is really incredible. The books are long. They're long, but they're so creative. There is a lot of world building in book one, so it can take a little while to get into it. I ended up listening to those books on Audible because I couldn't get through them fast enough. I didn't have enough time to sit down and read last year, but I could listen to them. I'm currently reading the Shadowhunter series with my daughter. I'll tell you, it's a little teen angsty, right? The main characters are 17-ish, and the series comes in the series has series that cover different time periods. But it's a good guilty pleasure read. And I was talking to my daughter about some common threads in this type of book. The heroine of the middle series, I was like, you realize that she made a lot of really, really dumb decisions, right? Like things could have been so much less hard if she had talked to anybody. Like that's a theme in all these well, in a lot of books, like the main character doesn't communicate. They don't communicate. They just don't communicate. A lot of things could have been prevented or solved more quickly if people just talked. And I was like, do you notice that? And she's like, yes, Mom. And I'm like, no, but seriously, make better choices. Everything turns out okay in the end. It always does in the books, but it didn't have to be that hard. Ask for help. Ask for help. That's what this character doesn't do. She doesn't ask for help. And then my next series I'll be reading is the Mistborn series. It's also by Brandon Sanderson, and it will eventually connect with the Way of Kings series. He's an incredible author. I don't know how he keeps it all straight, but my boys love this series and they cannot wait for me to read it. One tip, if you do buy the paper copies of the books, do not buy the mass market paperbacks. The pages fall out of the books, the ink smudges if you touch it, and the print is so tiny and crammed together, it's really hard to read. The books don't last, and they are less expensive, but in my opinion, they're not worth it. I did share last year my favorite way to read by the pool is with a Kindle Paperwhite, and we'll link to the video and blog post about that, about why it's my favorite e-reader, but I'll give you one tip. It's waterproof. So that is a favorite thing I shared last year. When I'm gardening, driving, cleaning, getting ready, and things like that, I like to listen to books on Audible. So I have 3 different ways that I read them. It depends on what I'm reading and what my schedule overall is looking like for the time frame that I'm reading. But I love reading with my kids. I do. I love sharing that connection with them. And then my last favorite thing I wanted to share with you is a retreat I've gone to twice. The underlying thought that plagues most people, and I would say particularly women, is I'm not enough and I'm also too much. We receive this message from everywhere from the time we're small. Do more, be more, strive more, but don't shine or be special or draw attention to yourself. Be more, but don't be too much. As women, we're praised for working and giving and driving until it hurts, until we are dry. But that leaves us dead inside. Ever since I was a little girl, I have hated the book called The Giving Tree. It sums up perfectly what we as women are encouraged to do. Basically, be martyrs. We don't have any needs. We don't have any wants, and we should never attend to ourselves. We're also taught to tear ourselves down to make others feel better. Don't you dare like yourself or be proud of yourself, or others will feel bad about themselves. You're not allowed to shine or be special. And it sounds ridiculous saying it out loud. We would never send that message consciously to our friends or our sisters or our mothers or our daughters, but it is. It's out there. It's everywhere. Last October and again in May, I attended a retreat called The Heart of a Woman, and it was life-changing. It is all about how much God loves us, how precious we are to Him, and that each one of us has something special to offer. There was not one single mention of things I should do more of or I should do better. I was there to bask in His love for me as an individual, and I gained so many things from the 2 times I've gone. But one of the most important things I learned is about being enough. First, I am always enough in God's eyes. No matter what I do, He will love me, and He will never love me more or less. There's nothing I can do to change Him and His love for me. I don't have to earn His love. He loves me because He loves me. That's it. Second, it's not my job to be enough for everyone else. That's His job. And I could never fill it, nor do I have to try. And third, in those moments when I am showing up for someone else, I am enough through Him. I do my best and He does the rest. Never in my entire life have I felt like I was enough for anyone. No one. And while I need reminders, because it's so easy to slip into that thinking, it's a habit. It's a 46-year-old habit. And it's around me everywhere. It was the first time I have ever felt at peace in my efforts at anything. It's the first time in my life I felt like I was enough. The retreat is held twice a year in October and May. It's non-denominational and it's run by a nonprofit organization. And we'll share the link to where you can learn more about it. And I'll tell you this, I went last October, and there's a men's version too called Warrior Boot Camp. And my husband went first, and then he wanted me to go, and I was like, whatever, I don't want to do this. But I did go, and I'm so grateful I did. I went last October. It changed my life. It changed my life in so many impactful ways. And as soon as they released the dates for the one that was held this past May, I told my husband, we're going to have to cancel our trip. We had a trip to Italy planned this spring. I was like, well, I guess we're not going. And he's like, no, I guess not. It was that impactful that I canceled our trip to Italy without, I didn't even hesitate. I wanted to go back. And I did. And it was incredible again. And I got so much out of it again. I got reminders of some of the things I learned from it last time. And I got new things from it this time. And I'm going to go again. It was incredible. And I couldn't not share. I've shared it with, I've talked about it a little bit last October or November when I came back. But I just have to share. So if you ever get the chance to attend this retreat, it's amazing. So, and the women who run the retreat are incredible. I cannot recommend it more highly. So, yeah, those are my favorite things. And that was a favorite summer thing because it was a great way to kick off my summer by rejuvenating my soul and my spirit and my heart and my mind. Okay, let's chat. Let's look at the comments. I can see some of your names and others I can't. So someone says, I love garden answers, so inspiring and informative. I know. There was one video I watched where she just planted in silence. Like she talked a little bit at the beginning, and she didn't put on music. You could just hear the sounds of her shovel and whatever birds were around. Like, it was so soothing to just sit there and watch her plant. She has a very soothing voice and a very soothing personality, and I just enjoy her. Cherry wants to know where to buy the Micellar water. RJ will put a link. Oh, RJ already did put a link in there for you. Thank you. Sandy's here. She says, hi, Sandy. And she says, outside can be what you want for sure. You're talking about gardening? Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. Janet says, I have the exact same hanger device that you have. I love it. Do you love it, Janet? Because I did. I used to like hang my stuff like over the bathtub and things, because if you put it in the dryer, it's ruined. And then I got one of these and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much neater and tighter and easier. And yes, wonderful. Laura says, Libby is a great app for listening to books. If you have a library card, you can use it. Ooh, that's a good tip. I haven't heard of Libby. It may depend on which library you use. I have not. Well, it took me a long time to get my new driver's license when we moved here. Blah, blah, blah. I finally have one. I haven't gotten a library card here. But at our old library, they used a different thing. But that's a great tip. I'll have to check that out. Amy says, that I had still left the hangers in the highlight picture. Kathy says, love this live. How wonderfully fun, diverse, and encouraging. Well, I'm so glad. It's one I really enjoy as well. It's it's just fun. I don't, I try to stay on topic for most of my other lives, but sometimes there are just other things that I would love to share with you. And this is a great way to do it. I put them all together, and I usually do this once a season. So it's fun. Kathy says, wow, it must have been great if you canceled a trip to Italy. It was. It was. And I'll tell you, I did not want to go. I didn't. I was feeling a lot of anxiety about going. I was dreading the emotional side of it, because being highly emotional, no matter what the emotion is, can be very draining. It's exhausting, right? And I'm also very introverted, being up there with a bunch of strangers, like, and then crying. I knew I was going to cry. I knew I would, and crying in front of a bunch of strangers. So when I first got there, I did not talk to anybody. I was I was in my own corner. I literally sat in the back in the corner by myself. I needed time to transition. And this time when I went, it was totally different. My heart was open. I was ready to talk to people, and not that I was like, party in my room, y'all. No, it wasn't like that, but I wasn't shut down where I was the first time, because I knew what to expect and everything. So it was incredible. And okay, sorry. I saw this whole, the hangers is in front of your face, and I was like, oh, I guess it was. I can't see my screen entirely the way you can. Thank you. Like 10 of you have said it. Thank you. I finally get it now. Anyway, so there was no doubt in my mind that I was going back. And I love Italy. It's one of my favorite places. And we were going to be going to parts of Italy we'd never been to before, but I don't regret it for a second. And I'm going in October. I'll be going to others. It's too good to miss. Kathy says, thanks for including all the links. Well, of course. Janet says, yes, I love the hanger device. It's fantastic. It is. It's so neat and tidy and easy. Kathy says, I need to use Libby. We have it at our library. I need to check it out. Yeah. Okay, Amy was like, no, it's been highlighted. It still is. Thank you, Amy. I finally saw that, and I was like, oh, it's still. And then I looked at the timestamp. I was like, oh, you're right. I have to. Anyway. Nancy says, yes, Libby and Hoopla, former librarian here. Oh, Nancy. Well, Nancy, if you have some great books to recommend, I'm sure you could spend days doing that. But if there are any like that just immediately pop into your head that I can read with my teenage boys and girls, I would love it. Marcy says, is this something you would think to attend every year? Me personally, absolutely. Well, and here's the other thing. Like, there was going to be one in February, and I was signed up for that one also. And it ended up getting canceled because of COVID, and I was so disappointed. So I was going to go 3 times in 6 months because it just filled my heart so much. It was, and you can go once and never go back if you want to, or you can go multiple times. They give you a chain, and it's got a name tag and a thing on it. But each time you go, you get a little gem or something that goes on it. And so you can collect them all. So now I have 2 gems. So no, I would definitely. And as far as something like that goes, it's very affordable because it's 3 days, 2 nights. It includes all your meals and your lodging. It includes everything but whatever transportation you have to take to get there, right? And it's, I don't want to say the wrong price, but it's less than $500 for sure. And for a 3-day retreat it's less than I think it's less than 400, but I don't want to tell you wrong. For a 3-day retreat with all meals, and it's not like by the way, we're not having breakfast. No, there's meals, there's snacks. They have water bottles. Like I did a terrible job packing this time. I was so distracted because there were multiple legs of my trip, and I forgot to take soap because it's not like a hotel. It's at you stay in yurts, and there are bathrooms and everything, but you bring all your own toiletries, like soap. They have toilet paper, but you bring your own soap, shampoo, and you bring a sleeping bag and a pillow and a towel. And I forgot to bring body soap. So I used the hand soap from the bathroom counter to wash my body. And I just used dry shampoo, like it a little, and more my hair up because I forgot all those things. And then I forgot my towel twice. I walked out the door. I went and got it. I forgot it. I went and got one. I set it down next to my suitcase, and then I left without it. I was very distracted when I was packing and left. But so it's very reasonably priced for what it is. Mine had to include a plane ticket because I don't live close enough to drive. But if you can drive there, it's that definitely adds to the savings. Rosemary likes Libby, and I'm gonna check it out. I've never heard of it. And Kathy says, I love that you and your kids read together. It's fun. And I love that they love reading and that I love reading. And it's something we have in common. And I know some people, it's just not their thing. But I've always loved to read. And these are just pleasure books. It's fun. And especially where they're, the shadow hunters, it's about shadow hunters are half human and half angel, and they protect the world from demons, and there are vampires and werewolves and fairies, and it's just that whole fantasy world. A lot of what I read with my kids is tied into fantasy, so it's just fun to let someone else's imagination run wild in your brain for a while. Kathy says, packing is easily confusing. I have a list in my suitcase. You know what? I have a list, and they sent a list of things specifically to bring, and it was my second time going. I just, in my brain was like, you should pull out their list. You should pull out their list. I was so tired. and so distracted, and I just didn't do it. It was my own poor judgment, and yeah. Anyway, I confess, there are certain things you expect to have at a hotel destination or when you're visiting someone, and those were the things I forgot, even though I knew. But anyway, so I hope some of these are helpful to you. I love chatting with you. I love sharing these things with you. If you have any favorite summer things, I would love to hear about them, and so would everyone else. So please share those as well. And I hope you have a fantastic summer. I'm looking forward to lots of fun. I've been taking my girls to the pool in the afternoon before dinner, and just sitting and reading my book while they get to play, and just being outside. I just love to be outside. So I will see you again next Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be more back on topic. But this is always a fun variation in our usual conversation. Oh, wait. Jean says, I love gardening, and I'm sad that I'm moving from my yard that I've had for 7 years. The new house is a blank canvas in the backyard. In front is basic landscaping. I guess I have a new project. My son is purchasing my house, so I should be able to transfer some. We'll need to replant my nectarine and pear trees, red and black raspberry patches. Oh, Jean, I know exactly how you feel. That was basically our situation. We had an acre, and I had landscaped that yard from scratch, and we had our vegetable gardens and our raspberry and blackberry patch and our orchard and all my flower gardens, and we had great tunnels and espalier fruit trees, and I was sad to leave it. That was my blood, sweat, and tears and love that went into that, and I do miss it. And I've also relished the idea of doing something new. It has been fun. It has been fun. So I hope you can have fun with your new blank canvas. And since your son's buying your old house, then that's great. I wish I could have taken my climbing rose, well, one in particular, I could plant a new one. I can buy a new one, but that one had been growing there for a decade and it was so full and beautiful. It's just the time that it takes for those to fill out. So I get you. Those fruit trees will take some time to fill in, but it's new fun. It's new fun. And I hope Garden Answer gives you some inspiration ideas. She knows a lot. Kathy says, I miss my fairy fountain and catmint. Oh, one of the first things, well, last year I did plant catmint. It's one of my favorites. I love it too. But a fairy fountain, if you have a picture, I'd love to see it. That sounds beautiful. And Dessa says, thank you for sharing about your retreat. Well, you're welcome. And if any of you get to go, it's amazing. It really is. All right, for real. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you again next Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.